Meet the kid who was forced to ditch his humanity and cosplay as a demon for a living. Now Ike is a big-shot mage commanding a squad in the Demon King's army. He's become totally invaluable to the cause, despite the tiny, treasonous detail that he's actually completely human. Make sure to smash that like button and comment below to feed the algorithm gods. Don't forget to hype up the video, and let's keep this train moving. So orc troops breach a castle wall during the war, thanks to some suspiciously well-placed explosions at the base. All courtesy of Ike. He watches from the nosebleeds alongside the orc leader, who is absolutely loving the carnage his troops are causing. The plan worked perfectly, but Ike isn't exactly shocked by the result. Victory was basically in the bag the moment he got assigned to babysit this operation. Inside, it's a total meat grinder. Demons are just naturally built different compared to humans, so they're winning easily. The human soldiers are getting absolutely wrecked. Meanwhile, the knight captain is panicking inside. He's watching his squad get deleted one by one, and probably regretting every life choice that led him to this career path. Then he realizes he's got company. He spins around and finds that Ike has casually snuck into the room. Knowing he's toast, the captain turns to the intruder and asks for a name. Ike introduces himself as commander of the 7th Immortal Brigade and lists the guy's very limited options. With his soldiers dead, Ike says he likes this territory and wants it. They can do this the easy way or the painful way. The captain tries to look brave and tells Ike he refuses to go down quietly. He launches a desperate attack, but Ike already figured this guy was too stubborn to choose the easy way. So he blasts the captain with a point-blank spell, instantly dropping him. War over, the orc leader comes in to high-five Ike, but points out that usually, a demon commander executes every survivor in the room right about now. But Ike has a different playbook. He orders the orc to get medical aid for the captain and the surrendered humans. A witch watching via crystal ball is stunned he took the castle with 1 brigade and a week of prep. She's definitely intrigued by his potential. Back inside, Ike throws up a privacy barrier. Finally alone, the guilt hits him. Sacrificing people to win the battle feels awful, even if it was the strategic move. He will never truly get used to the gore. A real demon wouldn't care, but Ike is just a human cosplayer. His grandpa, Romberg, was a legendary mage who knew way too much about lost civilizations and ancient tech. One day, Romberg found baby Ike and decided to adopt him, mostly just for the hell of it. Ike learned every spell in the book, but before the old man croaked, he made Ike promise to never mention the ancient tech because humanity has a habit of ruining everything with that knowledge. He also demanded Ike never take off his mask. If the Demon King finds out he's human, it's game over. So the mask stays on. The only reason he's taking it off now is because that magical barrier prevents intruders from walking in. Unfortunately, barriers don't stop people who are already in the room. Ike looks down. There's a maid trembling under the table. She's begging for mercy. She swears secrecy, then immediately knocks herself out on the table. Pure slapstick. She's alive, unfortunately. Ike kept his identity secret for 20 years, and now he wishes she'd actually cracked her skull to keep it that way. The first person to bust him is a clumsy maid. Perfect timing because the orc leader starts banging on the door. The maid issue has to wait. Outside, the orc confirms the castle is theirs, but thinks it's weird Ike is letting so many humans breathe. Ike claims the new Demon King only cares about results, not the body count. The orc gets it, but he was really looking forward to a good old-fashioned massacre and pillaging session. Ike has to explain basic economics. If you kill everyone, nobody is left to pay taxes. The city is called Arsenin. It's a huge trade hub. Dead people are terrible at handling commerce. Just then, 2 humans approach, actually wanting to talk to Ike. The orc screams at them for having the audacity to speak up. But Ike calms him down and lets the village chief speak. The chief knows they lost. He accepts the new management. He just wants to know how bad the taxes are going to be. Ike says keep paying the usual rate, but if anyone tries a rebellion, they get wiped out instantly. Suddenly, Ike's spidey sense tingles. He gets teleported into a dark room with a giant, angry monster standing right behind him. Ike dodges the attack. Apparently, getting kidnapped like this is a recurring issue for him. He yells at the witch for the incredibly rude summoning ritual. Since he's there, Ike decides to end it. One smack with his staff and the golem crumbles to dust. The witch is impressed. She actually thought the golem was tough. And finally, we learn her name is Sephro. She outranks Ike and is the only demon who knows his dirty little human secret. Ike suggests maybe sending an email next time, but she enjoys scaring the life out of him way too much. Resigned to her hazing, Ike asks if this meeting is about the battle at Arsenin. Nope, her familiars didn't give her the full scoop on that situation yet. She's cool with how he handled the city and the mercy thing, but Ike wonders why she dragged him all the way here. Sephiroth drops the bomb. The Demon King wants a face-to-face. Ike is flawed. No brigade commander ever gets an audience with the big boss. He's trying to figure out the motive. Sephiroth guesses it's about the speedrun capture of the city. So they're going to the capital right now. Ike wasn't packed for a trip, but he grabs Sephiroth's shoulder and they warp out. Back at the base, the maid finally wakes up. She tries to flee, but bumps right into the invisible wall of Ike's security barrier. She realizes she's locked in tight. Scouting the room, she finds a dinner plate and a note. It basically says, "Eat this and wait for me." She obeys, and the food is so good she practically inhales the whole thing. Meanwhile, Ike arrives at the demon capital. The demonic miasma is thick, making his human lungs burn, but he powers through it and marches toward the entrance. Seeing guards at the gate, Ike asks Sephiroth if they're patting down every visitor. She confirms they do inspections. Ike starts sweating because if they make him remove the mask, he's dead, but Sephiroth says, "Relax, I got this." She wraps him in a terrifying magical aura. The guards sense the power and immediately bow in respect. They know he's Romberg's grandson. Being an overpowered mage obviously runs in the family, or so they think. They breeze past security. After a long walk, Ike asks how much further until they reach the throne room. Almost there, Ike really wishes he could just fly like Sephiroth right now. He's jealous of her flight magic. He knows the spell, but his control absolutely sucks. The best he can do is jump really high. They reach the big doors. Sephiroth tells Ike to wait while she preps the king. Waiting alone, Ike thinks about Accusations, the king who single-handedly flipped the war's momentum. He gave the demons the edge by joining just one battle. Rumor has it the guy is cruel, cold, and executes anyone who looks at him wrong. But hey, he supposedly appreciates talent. Sephiroth gives the signal, so Ike takes a deep breath and enters the room. He looks up to greet the king, and realizes the Demon King is a teenage girl. Accusations praises his one-week conquest. Ike thanks her but plays it cool, saying he doesn't deserve the hype. The king finds this humility weird. She notes that he's acting awfully human. Ike panics. He almost blew his cover in the first minute. Luckily, Sephiroth jumps in, explaining that his grandfather Romberg raised him. The old mage was humble, so Ike picked up the habit. She adds that Ike is smarter than he looks, which is why he didn't just murder everyone in the city. But Ike immediately regrets sparing the humans, sensing impending doom. Because now he's drawing way too much attention. He asks to speak and explains that ruling through terror is inefficient. Dead humans can't work, so keeping them alive maintains normalcy and productivity, which basically means better taxes and less rebellion for everyone involved. Accusations asks if this philosophy came from Romberg. Ike confirms it, realizing she knows his grandfather well. He realizes the Demon King definitely knows about the ancient civilizations Romberg used to ramble about. She clearly used that forbidden knowledge to build her army. Accusations warps in front of him, noting he's different. She demands that next time she wants to see the face beneath that mask. She zips behind him, whispering that she expects great things from his career. The second she leaves, Ike passes out cold. Sephiroth roasts him immediately. For an all-powerful mage, he's got the nerves of a trembling chihuahua. He panicked because the king noticed the mask, but thankfully she hasn't figured out the whole human thing yet. Sephiroth mentions there's a reward coming for his excellent performance review. Though calling it a reward is a stretch, Ike returns to Arsenin to check on the maid, who absolutely demolished the entire meal. He finds her passed out behind the table. He wakes her up and she immediately starts begging for her life like a total mess. Ike tells her to chill, nobody is dying today. He just wants her name. She says it's Sadi. Slaves usually just get numbers, but her mom named her. Ike admits he can't let her go now that she knows his dark secret. He trusts her silence, but just to be safe, she's officially hired as his personal maid starting now. Sadi is thrilled to work if it means living. So that's settled. The next day, Ike is crowned ruler of Avilius. Sephiroth explained earlier that this city was the reward the Demon Lord promised. It's a frontline city, so his job is rebuilding it and doubling tax revenue. Ike hates this because Sephiroth conquered the place by blowing up all the walls, leaving it totally exposed. Since it is a war zone, they need walls fast. Ike asks Giant for a timeline on fixing the massive gaping holes. He says 6 months minimum. That is way too slow, but with only unmotivated human laborers, speed just isn't an option. However, Ike has a brainwave to cut it to 1 month by integrating demon and human workers. Giant is shocked by the integration. Ike introduces 8-hour shifts, allowing construction to run 24/7 without burning everyone out, which is revolutionary here. He also pays fair wages to keep morale high. Giant is now convinced Ike is a genius and basically destined to become the next Demon King. The war rages on, but the demons are winning, so Dara Kutan is sitting pretty on her throne. However, reports show humans forming a massive alliance, which could actually flip the script on the war. So the king dumps the entire problem onto Ike. Meanwhile, a human knight named Alicester is summoned to reclaim Avilius and save the kingdom. They can't afford losing more forts. Mission accepted, he heads out immediately to fight. Simultaneously, Ike and Sadi are sneaking into the kingdom, but Sadi gets distracted by a street gambling game nearby. The dealer says she just needs to find the ball. Guess correctly, and he doubles her money instantly. Sadi picks 1. The man asks for cash. Sadly, Sadi is broke because Ike doesn't trust her with his wallet. Rightly so, considering she's already gambling with money she doesn't have. The scammer gets mad about the time waste, but creeps on her, suggesting another way to pay. Suddenly, all the cups start floating magically, revealing that the ball was never there. The crowd realizes it's rigged and furiously demands their money back immediately. Amidst the chaos, Ike grabs Sadi, scolding her for wandering off. She apologizes, claiming curiosity got the best of her. She finally notices Ike is wearing human clothes. He explains they are scouting, so walking around in demon cosplay is a bad idea. They walk through the city and spot a massive soldier platoon, confirming that the kingdom is definitely gearing up for a serious alliance. Sadi worries the demon army might lose. Ike is confused, expecting her to root for humanity since she's basically a captive, but she has her reasons. Since her mom was a slave, human society treated her like trash. She'd rather serve Ike than starve on the streets as a beggar. Ike reassures her. The current demon army is the smartest and strongest it's ever been, so defeat isn't really on the table. Suddenly, someone shouts. It's the scammer from earlier, looking for a fight and trying to confront them. He's mad Ike exposed his trick, so he brought a musclehead to mug them. Seeing no witnesses, Ike decides to teach this idiot a painful lesson. He instantly freezes the big guy's legs and fires ice shards directly at the scammer's face. The scammer demands Ike unfreeze him so he can rob him. Ike pokes his shoulder, hinting that the next spell won't miss vital organs. The guy finally gets it and agrees to spill his guts to stay alive. Ike asks why the soldiers are running around like headless chickens today. The man tries to play dumb until Ike threatens murder. Then he explains the alliance and how Rosaria's army is desperate to score war points before the big boys arrive. Ike gets it, a high body count equals more respect and leverage at the strategic negotiating table. But if they screw up, Rosaria ends up looking pathetic. He figures out their target must be Avilius. The scammer confirms it, saying that's the only logical place for a quick win. Reports confirm Avilius still has a massive hole in the wall, so attacking the weak spot is basically guaranteed. Ike has the intel he needs. Since the scammer was actually useful, he decides to walk away. But he never promised to melt the ice. Back at the office, Ike sits down to tackle his paperwork mountain. Sadi brings Tay to help him chill. Suddenly, Sephro bursts in. She demands to know where Ike was, claiming she was actually worried sick. He calmly explains the scouting mission, but his rational answer doesn't exactly calm her down. Then she targets Sadi, asking why he's keeping a human pet. Sadi introduces herself as the maid, but Sephiroth ignores her and casually calls her an ugly bitch. Sadi snaps. She tells the demon to back off because Ike is too tired to deal with jealous witches. This starts a screaming match where they accuse each other of seducing Ike. Ike wisely stays silent. Rosaria's troops gather outside Avilius. They find the lack of guards weird, but assume the demons are just incompetent and understaffed, rather than suspecting a trap. They tell Alicester everything is prepped, and they are ready to fire on command. Alicester gives the order, however. The moment he speaks, skeleton soldiers burst from the ground, surrounding his forces instantly. The soldiers brace themselves. They figure mere skeletons are easy XP. But then a soldier gets sniped from nowhere. and the situation goes from bad to nightmare immediately. Alicester realizes they are cooked and orders an immediate full retreat. Ike and Giant watch from the wall. They praise Alister's retreat, though the only reason the demons won so easily was because Ike scouted the whole plan beforehand. But while they gloat, an assassin sneaks up and puts an arrow right in Ike's back, dropping him to the ground instantly. Meanwhile, the general hears that Alicester had to retreat due to unforeseen circumstances, which is code for losing. A soldier explains the demon ambush, but the general refuses to listen and orders Alicester to be thrown in prison for his failure. The soldier realizes this is stupid, arguing that Alicester is literally the best commander they have left. He argues that jailing her for one loss kills morale and ruins future battles, but the general isn't listening. The general doesn't care. He insists she gets punished for failing his mission. Back in Avilius, Ike wakes up fully healed, but finding Sephro sleeping next to him raises several immediate questions. Mostly, why is she in his bed? She dodges the question, claiming she saved him. She makes it sound incredibly suspicious. Ike eventually convinces her to cut the act and explain what happened, since his memory is blank. She reveals she healed a nasty arrow wound in his back. It was fatal, but her magic fixed it without leaving a scar. Moving on, she notes that 0 humans died during the attack. She knows Ike hates unnecessary killing, which is sweet. But acting like a pacifist will make the king suspicious. Ike argues he's trying to figure out coexistence. If they keep slaughtering everyone, peace becomes impossible. Senseless murder really hurts the long-term plan. Sephro respects his dedication to interspecies relations, so she drops the subject for now. She tells the human boy to rest. Once alone, Ike inspects the arrow. It struck him from behind. That means the shooter was either a master infiltrator or a traitor standing right there. Before he can spiral, someone knocks. He puts the skull mask on. Sadi and Lilith rush in, looking worried, but immediately pivot to fighting over who gets to comfort him. It's a seduction contest, and nobody is winning. Lilith shoves Sadi away while trying to snuggle up to Ike's arm. Sadi refuses to back down, so Lilith starts throwing hands again. Luckily, Giant steps in, grabs Lilith, and physically tosses her into the hallway, locking the door. She bangs on the door, screaming. Giant knows she's annoying, so she stays out there. Ike thanks him and requests intel. He needs to locate the human commander. Giant gets to work. Hours later, the update arrives. Alicester is in prison for the crime of losing a battle. Ike plans a solo stealth mission, but Lilith stalks him and warns that humans are violent, so going alone is unsafe, which is ironic. She insists he needs backup. Ike figures he'll be fine since he just needs to ask a question, and he definitely didn't invite her. Lilith claims it's more fun as a duo, promising they can party after the mission is done. She also points out Sadi is coming. Leaving Lilith out would be totally unfair. Ike is too tired to argue. He lets her join, provided she keeps up. They reach the prison gate. It's lightly guarded, so Lilith suggests she could just storm the place and wreck everyone. Ike vetoes that immediately. He doesn't want unnecessary trouble. The plan is to get in and out quickly, quietly and peacefully, but Lilith has already knocked out the guards before he finishes. Inside, the prison is huge. Finding Alister's cell the old-fashioned way is going to take forever. Lilith prefers the direct approach. She threatens the warden, demanding keys and a location unless he wants pain. Alicester is on the top floor. As they head up, more guards swarm them. Probably because the warden screamed, Lilith tells Ike to go ahead while she handles the trash. Ike reminds her again, no killing. He wants 0 body bags. She promises, but as he leaves, he hears guards screaming as their bones snap. Technically, they are still alive. Ignoring the brutality, he climbs to the cell only to find it completely empty. She is already gone. Suddenly, a girl attacks from the shadows, trying to stab him. Ike dodges and pins her to the floor. It's Alicester. Ike steps back and says he just has one simple question. Did she send an assassin to kill him during the battle? If it wasn't her, then he's dealing with a traitor back home. Instead of answering, Alicester gets close and asks if he's actually a demon. He doesn't seem evil enough. Ike plays dumb, but gets distracted when more guards start rushing up the stairs behind him. Alicester presses a knife to his throat, demanding to know his species before he moves. She needs a straight answer now. Even with guards closing in, she refuses to budge until he confesses. Ike agrees not to move his body, but nobody said anything about not moving his mana. Before Alicester can react, Ike chants a spell in an unknown tongue, freezing everyone in the room instantly. He blasts the guards back with wind magic. Suddenly, another guard sneaks up behind him for a cheap shot. The guy swings his mace. Ike dodges, pins the guard to the railing with magic, and flings him off the bridge to his doom. Well, not quite doom. Ike casts a cushion spell before the guy lands. Alicester can't comprehend why he's saving enemies. It breaks her brain. But the bridge is unstable. The railing snaps and Alicester falls. She plummets, fully expecting death to follow. But just like the guard, Ike catches her with magic before impact. Alicester is more confused than ever. A demon saving a human knight makes zero sense. Ike ignores her confusion and finally introduces himself properly. He is the commander of the 7th Army. Alicester realizes he's the brilliant general who defended Avilius against her. Ike uses his rank as proof that he can't be human. The Demon King would never be stupid enough to let a human run an army brigade. Convincing her he's a demon, Ike repeats the question. Did she send the assassin? Alicester keeps her mouth shut out of pride. She's a loyal knight. She'd rather die than give intel to the enemy. Ike sees this is going nowhere. He steps closer and just invades her mind with magic. Lilith walks in and immediately gets jealous, seeing Ike staring deeply into a human's eyes. She tries to grab him, but Ike has the data he needs, so he simply walks away. Alicester calls out, confused why he broke into prison just to stare at her and leave peacefully. Ike says he has no reason to stay. He knows she's innocent of the assassination. While peeking in her brain, he saw her regret over the battle. He tells her not to beat herself up, learn from the loss, and move on. He tells Lilith to prep for departure. She suggests they find a private broom closet to celebrate first. Ike ignores the offer and opens a portal, teleporting them straight home, leaving Alicester alone with a lot of unanswered questions. Back home, Sadi greets him. He claims he has a gift. Curious, she holds out her hands. Ike dumps a bag of rice into them. Sadi has never seen rice, so she just stares. Ike explains he found it in the capital, and it's going to skyrocket the city's productivity. His orders were to double tax revenue. Avilius grows wheat, but switching to rice is a cheat code for efficiency and higher yields. Sadi looks blankly at him, so Giant steps in to mansplain the economics. Rice yields more food than wheat with less labor, freeing up workers to do other jobs and boost the economy. Essentially, productivity goes up, the city gets rich, and everyone wins. Ike checks if Sadi followed that. Her brain is still buffering on the word productivity. So the lecture was a total waste. He dumbs it down, people eat more, he collects more tax money, simple. Sadi finally nods and gets ready to work. He tells her to cook it. She's never cooked rice before, so she asks for a recipe. Ike freezes, he has no idea how to cook it either. Sadi is shocked the great wizard is clueless, but she's still holding the bag. Ike tells her to improvise because he has important city business to do. He trusts her completely. Moments later, Ike summons Giant and the soldiers to the courtyard. He starts connecting the dots on the assassination attempt. The arrow used was definitely from Alister's army. But her mind was clean, she didn't order the hit. That implies one thing. Someone attacked him to frame Alicester. He hates doubting his own men, but the math says there is a spy among them. He scans the crowd with mind-reading magic and instantly spots one goblin sweating bullets and praying he doesn't get caught. Suspicion confirmed, Ike teleports right in his face and calls him out as the mole. Later, Ike visits Sephro for advice, but accidentally teleports into her bathroom while she is mid-scrub. She is totally unbothered by the nudity, but Ike is mortified and rushes to wait in the hallway. Before he escapes, she asks about the traitor. Ike pauses, confused because he hadn't told anyone about the spy yet. He asks how she knew. She claims it was just a lucky guess. Ike reveals the mastermind is Jace, the one-eyed goblin. Sephro isn't shocked. She had a feeling that guy was shady for a while. Ike asks for the plan. She stands up. It's time to make Jace regret being born. Back in Avilius, a minion tells Jace that Ike recently paid a visit to Sephro. Jace is confused how Ike recovered from a backstab so fast. Then worse news arrives. They lost contact with their spy inside Ike's camp. Jace realizes the jig is up. Ike knows everything. He decides to gather the boys and jump Ike before he gets eliminated. But plot twist, he gets word that Ike is already hunting him in the streets. Jace walks out acting cool, saying Ike should have called ahead before dropping by unannounced. Ike claims he was in the neighborhood and wanted a private chat. but Jace reveals his entire armed squad. Ike asks if he's trying to start a war. Jace reminds him this is his turf, so Ike is trespassing. He mocks Ike for getting shot earlier, claiming he must be losing his edge to let an arrow hit him. Ike admits he got sloppy that time, but honestly, he never expected a teammate to stab him in the back. Jace drops the nice act. He tells Ike he was an idiot to come here alone. His army prepares to shred the mage, but Ike smiles, saying he's glad Jace brought everyone because now he can delete them all at once. Jace looks up in horror as Sephiroth unleashes a tactical nuke from the sky. She loves explosions so much she forgot to tell Ike to duck. She assumes he'll survive somehow. Meanwhile, Ike is absolutely not fine. He dives behind a building to avoid getting vaporized by his own ally. He begs her to lower the output so there is a city left to rebuild, but she ignores him because big booms are more fun. After the fireworks, Phase 2 begins. She sends her skeleton warriors to mop up any goblins that aren't Ash. While Jace watches his squad get deleted, Ike teleports behind him with an offer. Surrender now or die with the rest. Despite seeing Ike's power, Jace stupidly orders his remaining men to attack. Ike blasts the frontal attackers away with wind, but another goblin tries to sneak up from behind. Too bad Ike already had a shield active. He finishes off the grunts effortlessly. While his men die, Jace runs away because loyalty isn't his strong suit. A summoned monster blocks his path, so Jace uses a smoke bomb to blind it and scrambles into a dark alley. He dives into a portal and pops out in the forest, thinking he outsmarted them. But the moment he steps toward his escape route, Ike fires a fireball. Jace panics, asking how Ike found a secret path that only he knew about. Ike explains he tagged Jace with a familiar ages ago. Ike suggests surrendering again, but Jace refuses to quit and throws a desperate punch. His weak hit bounces off Ike's shield, and Ike drops him instantly. Bound by magical vines and dangling in the air, Jace finally admits he lost. He explains why the Demon King values Ike so much. He admits Ike has talent, so he decides to make a sales pitch. He wants Ike to join forces, seize control of the army, and make demons great again. He whines that demons love killing humans but Darokuten banned it. It's ruining all their fun. Many demons hate her policies, so Jace invites Ike to the coup. He claims she isn't fit to rule. Ike obviously says no. Jace breaks a hand free and throws a knife. Ike dodges, insulted that Jace thought a cheap trick like that would land. He demands names of the other conspirators, but Jace keeps his mouth shut. Sephiroth arrives, ready to torture the truth out of him. Ike begs her to let him try diplomacy first. He hates excessive violence. Sephiroth complains his methods are too slow and prepares to get drastic. Suddenly, Jace turns purple and starts screaming, which is weird. Since Sephiroth didn't touch him, it means his own allies poisoned him remotely to silence him. Ike tries an antidote, but the toxin is too potent. Jace is a dead goblin walking. Before he croaks, Sephiroth asks if he really wants to protect the friends who just murdered him. Jace agrees to snitch on the rebellion leaders so she can avenge him. Armed with intel, Sephiroth and Ike head straight to Darokuten. They report that Bastion, the third corps commander, is leading the rebellion. Facing treason charges, Darokuten gives Bastion a chance to defend himself. Bastion claims Sephiroth and Ike are framing him. He says they killed Jace to silence him. He accuses Sephiroth of trying to steal his army. The blatant lies just make Sephiroth furious. Darokuten tells her to chill, she will handle this mess. She explains that powerful demons always get thirsty for more power. Ambition is what defines a demon, so she can't exactly punish someone for being ambitious. That said, Darokuten isn't stupid. She knows Bastion is lying through his teeth, so she ignores his whining. She also knows Sephiroth is loyal. However, Darokuten points out it's technically Sephiroth's fault Jace betrayed them, since she failed to manage her subordinate. Sephiroth accepts the blame. By law, Darokuten should execute both of them right now. But losing two top commanders is a waste, so she skips the execution. Instead, she orders a duel. The winner gets to live. Later, Sephiroth preps for the fight. The king just sent over the official rulebook. It's not a fist fight, they have to use magical dolls. Neither commander can fight personally, that is the rule. Both get 50 dolls. Victory goes to whoever wipes out the enemy team first. It seems overly complicated when a simple deathmatch would have been faster, but Sephiroth figures the king wants to test their brains, not just their brawn. Still, it's a weird way to settle a grudge. Oh, and one tiny detail. The rules allow commanders to pick a substitute to play the game. So she chooses Ike to fight for her life, no pressure. Ike asks if she is sure she doesn't want to drive. She insists this way is safer since the duel is purely about strategy and skill. She knows she is stronger in a brawl, but she believes Ike's tactical brain is miles ahead of hers. So she is betting her life on him. Ike hates that her survival depends on him, but he has no choice, so he decides to lock in. Ike checks out the war dolls. They all have identical stats and obey orders perfectly, like little robotic soldiers. That means the only thing that matters here is the commander's ability to play chess. They can equip weapons, but Ike suspects giving everyone a sword isn't going to be the winning move. Later in his office, he tries to brainstorm formations. Sadi walks in, so he offers tea. While she is there, he asks what she would do to win a fight. Sadi admits she has no clue since she hates fighting. Ike agrees that peace is best, but sometimes violence is mandatory. But hypothetically, if she had to throw hands, what would she do? So he asks what she would do in that situation. Sadi says she has 0 combat skills, so she would probably just grab a broom. Ike smiles, she actually nailed it. The best weapon lets you hit the other guy while staying out of their reach. Like how a sword beats a dagger. And a bow is even better because you can snipe from downtown. Bastion isn't stupid, so he is probably expecting standard military tactic. Sadi chimes in, saying her old master swore by crossbows during battle. Ike admits they are decent for piercing armor and easier to use than standard bows. But decent isn't enough. Ike needs something with serious stopping power. He would love to go full nuclear option, but he lacks the enriched uranium. So he settles for the next best thing, guns. Sadi is confused and asks if they actually work. Ike assures her that swords don't bring guns to a gunfight. You can delete enemies from hundreds of yards away with 0 risk. Sadi asks if he can actually build one. He admits he can't, but he knows a guy. Or rather, a demon. Sephro is a master alchemist, so manufacturing firearms should be easy for her. But when he asks, Sephro hits him with a hard no. Ike tries explaining the mechanics of combustion and ballistics, but she completely ignores the science lesson and invites him for a swim. Meanwhile, Bastion learns Ike is subbing in for the duel. His underling assumes Sephro is just terrified, but Bastion knows she's up to something. He figures she has a scheme cooking, even if he can't see it yet. For now, he inspects a newly forged blade with approval. It's made from a dragon's tooth. The smith says they can equip the whole squad, but Bastion hints he needs way more than just 50. Back at the pool, Ike is stressing out. Sephro is terrifyingly chill considering his failure means her execution. A courier approaches. Ike turns to thank the messenger, only to realize it's the demon lord herself. This is a disaster because Ike isn't wearing his mask. He freezes, praying she doesn't recognize him. Dairokuten drops a bag and tells him to check it. He opens it and finds high-grade explosive ore. It's exactly the raw material he needed for the gunpowder. She knew he was hunting for explosives, so she personally delivered the goods. Ike tries to play dumb, feigning ignorance about the dangerous rocks, but she cuts him off. She knows he's human. His grandfather Romberg spilled the beans ages ago. She's known his secret since day one. Shocked, Ike asks why she hasn't turned him into a corpse yet. She says it's because she has a dream. Even with all her power, she can't change the world without competent allies. She wants to build a peaceful world. To do that, she needs talent, and she wants Ike on the team. She is recruiting based on skill, not species. She wants him to help achieve this goal. Ike agrees to serve her. Satisfied with his loyalty, she teleports away before things get awkward. Later, Ike brings the blueprints back to Sephro. She finally grasps the concept of a gun and asks how to make the ammo. Ike explains they are small metal pellets. She conjures one, but it's the size of a cannonball. He tells her to shrink it down to fit the barrel. She complains that crafting small items ruins her complexion, but she does it anyway. There's a massive bang, but Sephro is confused because she sensed 0 magic. Ike smiles, that is the beauty of chemical combustion. Fiorentina pops in to confirm she finished the batch of gunpowder Ike requested. Ike checks the bullets. This time Sephro nailed the dimensions perfectly. He orders 500 more. Sephro agrees, which is suspicious. Immediately, she dumps the entire workload onto Fiorentina because she is lazy. Ike apologizes to the maid, knowing she has to manufacture the entire arsenal alone. Fiorentina sighs. She is used to her boss avoiding manual labor. Duel day arrives. The stadium is packed with bloodthirsty demons. Bastion starts trash-talking immediately, laughing that Ike's dolls only have shields, while his squad is decked out in full plate armor. He asks if Sephro has some secret plan, but then decides he doesn't care. He is going to win regardless of her schemes. His dolls are clad in Damascus steel. Swords and arrows will bounce off them like rubber. The metal was a gift from the king, so Bastion thinks she's favoring him. Ike realizes the king played both sides. She gave him explosives and Bastion the steel, probably to see whose tech is superior. He figures he can ask her about it after he wins. The referee starts the match and restates the simple rules. 50 dolls each. Total annihilation of the opposing team secures the victory, and the loser gets executed. The starting horn blasts and chaos begins. Bastion immediately orders his archers to rain fire on Ike. Ike orders a shield wall. They block most of the volley but take some damage. Seeing blood, Bastion orders a full-scale melee charge to finish the job. His armored units smash into Ike's defensive line. Bastion laughs, thinking Ike is just delaying the inevitable defeat. Ike's dolls are dropping fast, but up in the VIP box, Darokuten notices something interesting. The battle isn't over yet. Suddenly, a thunderous roar erupts. Ike's dolls lower their shields and open fire with the muskets. The volley shreds Bastion's armored troops in seconds. Bastion is stunned. He can't comprehend the destruction. Moments later, every single one of his dolls is scrap metal. Ike wins decisively. The Demon King descends to the arena to deliver the verdict. She claims to be merciful, so she gives Bastion two choices: suicide or execution. Spoiler, the second option will hurt more. But Bastion isn't done. He triggers his backup plan. He signals a hidden archer to snipe the king. She anticipates the treachery and catches the arrow midair like a boss. But she missed one detail. The arrow is rigged with high-grade explosives. Boom, the blast flings the Demon King across the arena. Bastion detonates charges in the stands, killing spectators and clearing a path for his skeleton army. He declares a coup. His undead soldiers swarm the arena, slaughtering the confused ogre guards. The guards are panicking and getting wiped out. It is a total massacre. Bastion laughs maniacally, ordering his troops to kill everyone while he crowns himself king. He turns to Ike, claiming the coup is already a success. He graciously offers to let Ike live if he switches sides. He recognizes Ike's talent and offers him a sweet deal: full command of the 7th Brigade and a high rank in the new regime. Ike admits the benefits package sounds nice, but points out a flaw: Bastion can't deliver. Because Bastion is never going to be king. The traitor laughs at Ike's confidence, mocking him for refusing while surrounded by an undead army. With enemies closing in from all sides, Ike stands there completely bored. He flicks his wrist, unleashing a wind spell that grinds the approaching skeletons into bone dust. Furious, Bastion screams for his men to pile on. They rush him, but Ike summons dozens of black spears, turning the charging wave into a shish kebab. One skeleton gets creative, setting its own skull on fire to use as a projectile. A for effort, F for execution. The attack misses, and Ike vaporizes the skeleton instantly. Ike is winning, but getting surrounded is annoying. He casts a flight spell, taking to the sky while arrows whistle past his feet. From his aerial vantage point, he prepares a massive area of effect spell. He wipes out half the rebel army in a heartbeat, then dive bombs straight toward Bastion. He grabs the traitor by the face and unleashes a point-blank explosion. The smoke clears. Ike is standing there, assuming the job is done. It was a brutal move, but apparently not brutal enough. Bastion's severed head rolls onto the ground, and his headless body stands up to sucker punch Ike. Explosions rock the stadium as the fight continues. Ike leaps back just in time to create some distance. Bastion laughs from the floor, claiming resistance is futile. As a commander, Ike should know better than to fight him. Undead don't stay dead for long. The soldiers he blasted earlier just regenerate and return to work. Like his minions, Bastion is undead, so basic attacks are useless. They respawn instantly, launching exploding skulls right at Ike's face. Their aim is tragically bad, though. It's like a bronze-ranked lobby, but the chaos distracts Ike enough for a sneak attack. While distracted, a soldier sneaks up behind him, but Ike reacts instantly, freezing the guy's arm and shattering him into ice cubes. He gets seriouser. He activates time magic, slowing the battlefield to a crawl, casually walking around to smack every enemy down with his staff. but not even stopping time can keep Bastion's infinite zombie army down for long. They just keep regenerating without any end in sight. Ike has limited mana, meaning he's eventually going to burn out and become easy prey for the horde. Bastion sighs, claiming it's a waste of Ike's potential to die here. He really wanted that talent. Suddenly, a distant archer snipes an explosive arrow right at Ike's spine. But Ike isn't falling for that trick twice. He deploys a magical shield the second it hits. The massive explosion cracks his defense and scatters debris everywhere. But he survives. Bastion is genuinely shocked he actually tanked that hit. But it makes sense. Ike commands the 7th Immortal Brigade, meaning he wouldn't be there if he wasn't incredibly powerful. Still, Bastion insists resistance is futile. No matter what, the ending remains the same. Ike dies to the horde. Ike realizes Bastion is right. Ike knows his mana is draining fast. If this continues, he loses. He needs a radically different strategy. Dark magic won't work on creatures of darkness, but that realization sparks an idea. He devises a risky plan to wipe out these cursed corpses permanently. A specific tactic to delete the undead permanently. As the zombies rush him, Ike channels holy energy and unleashes a massive purification spell. Holy light floods the arena, instantly vaporizing the undead into dust. Bastion watches his army evaporate in horror, but refuses to quit, screaming at his archer to fire one more shot. Before he shoots, a blade slices his arm off. Sephro has finally arrived. She apologizes for the delay, but announces she brought some heavy backup. The rest of the 7th Brigade lands on the battlefield. Ike's squad jumps in and demolishes the remaining zombies. Sephro flies down to Ike, confirming her team is cleaning up the mess outside. Bastion targets her immediately, charging an attack, but a cold, authoritative voice echoes behind him before he can react. It says to ignore Sephro, his opponent is Ike. Bastion turns around in horror. The Demon King has arrived. She has every right to obliterate him right now. But surprisingly, Daerokutan offers him one final chance to keep his head. To live, he must defeat Ike in single combat. This is technically his second pardon, even knowing he was a traitor. As a subordinate, Ike has to accept the challenge and face Bastion 1v1. They charge immediately. Bastion swings his sword, but Ike blocks it with magic. Bastion is insulted. Ike thinks he can actually win. He pours maximum power into striking Ike's shield. This time the defense cracks. He taunts Ike, calling him weak and pathetic. In his mind, Ike's defeat is totally inevitable. He presses the attack, claiming Ike is done for, forcing the mage to leap backward. Bastion instantly fires a dark laser beam from his face. Ike notices it and counters with his own blast of holy white magic. The holy spell completely overpowers Bastion's darkness. Upon contact, his arm begins decomposing. Sephro is stunned, wondering when and where a demon learned to use holy magic. But Daerokutan's lack of reaction proves she already knew Ike had this power in his back pocket. Bastion refuses to quit and attacks again. Ike ignores him, flashing back to his childhood lessons with his grandpa Romberg. He was fixated on a wilted flower back then. But since it was time for school, he put it aside to study magic. After learning cool spells, he asked where he could find magic to revive the flower. Magic that restores a flower. Romberg said white magic could do it, so Ike begged to learn. Romberg warned him that since he's pretending to be a demon, white magic is almost impossible. It requires a compassionate heart, and since demons are fueled by hate, they can't use it. But since Ike is human, he can. Romberg emphasized that white magic is the ultimate weapon to use against demonkind. So if he learns it, he must be careful. Ike agreed and the training began. Back in the present, Ike tells Bastion his ambition is way too toxic for a ruler. Sacrificing his own subordinates and betraying his master just for power is unacceptable. That might be normal demon behavior, but Ike won't tolerate it. Demon or not, an oppressor is wrong. Bastion yells at him to shut up, claiming he knows absolutely nothing. Ike silences him, declaring these are his final seconds of life. Bastion lunges once more. Ike charges holy energy, slashing Bastion's stomach open and ending his miserable life permanently. With Bastion finally dead, Sephro walks up, glad the chaotic plan actually worked out. Ike realizes she planned this, using him for the duel while she prepped the reinforcements. She was ready for the coup. She sees no issue since the main crew survived, casually ignoring the few hundred civilian demons who died as unfortunate collateral damage. However, Accusations interrupts with a problem. Since Bastion is dead, the Third Corps needs a leader. She decides to give the position directly to Ike. Before he can argue, she teleports him away. His team gathers around to congratulate the new victor, but Sephro looks noticeably pissed off. Later, Sephro storms into the castle, shouting that Ike is her subordinate, so his promotion should be her decision to make. Accusations is surprised, assuming Sephro would be happy about her boy moving up in the world. But ultimately, Sephro answers to the king, so she has no right to block the promotion orders. She decides to let Ike speak for himself since he's there. Ike steps up. Accusations waits for him to accept the fancy title. Ike starts by mentioning that his city is finally adapting to change. At first, demons hated living with humans, but they adjusted to the lifestyle. Now they live in relative peace, helping each other without prejudice. This is a massive step forward. He explains his reason for joining. He wanted to build a world of coexistence, and that goal hasn't changed. He removes his mask to show sincerity, then respectfully declines the massive promotion offer. He still needs Sephro's mentorship, but vows to make Avilius the model city for coexistence. Back home, Ike takes a moment to reflect on his assets. Sadi asks if he's okay, since he's been avoiding going inside the house since the duel ended. Ike claims he was just checking soil quality. He wants to revamp the farming system to cultivate crops year-round. Sadi is hyped because that means flexible shifts for her. But while Ike plays Stardew Valley, the human army is slowly advancing. They are destroying demon forces as the war continues. Ike ignores the geopolitics to focus on farming, using magic to summon rain for the fields. Sadi asks for the plan, so the lecture begins. Currently, they use the valley land to plant wheat for food. Then they let the land rest before planting grass for the livestock, but this leaves the soil doing absolutely nothing for half the year. So Ike devised a smarter method. From now on, they will rotate crops between wheat, clover, and turnips. This keeps the soil fertile without ever needing a rest period. Basically, nobody in Avilius will starve again. Later, Ike returns to the office with tea. Sadi congratulates him on his promotion to vice commander, since the goblin's spot is wide open. Suddenly, Giant bursts into the room with terrible news. This update concerns the King's alliance, which is slowly eating away at demon army territory. In fact, they completely wiped the floor with the Second Corps on their way here. That is a massive feat because that unit was stacked with elite fighters. The fact that they got deleted so easily means the alliance is a serious threat. Ike is startled by the alliance's momentum, but Sadi has no clue who they are. So Ike explains the law. It's an old treaty stating that if the demon lord gets too strong, humans must stop bickering and team up to jump the demons. It is basically a global Avengers Assemble clause for humanity. Since it is ancient history, Giant asks if it actually works. Ike confirms it was invoked 3 times in the past, and every single time, the demon army took a massive L and lost the war. Those are terrible odds, so Giant asks if they will be okay. Ike bluntly says no, they are absolutely cooked. With the alliance advancing this fast, Avilius is definitely the next target. Ike recently helped capture Sonnen, which is a heavily fortified strategic fortress. The alliance wants it back, and to get there, they have to smash through the front lines here in Avilius first. Demons are usually stronger than humans in a one-on-one, but dealing with coordinated human zergs is a different story. If Avilius falls, the humans will use their numbers to steamroll straight into Sonnen. Once that fort is lost, the army gets pushed back to the demon lord's castle, putting them in a checkmate position. Ike refuses to let that happen. Losing hurts the plan, so he needs a strategy to counter the numbers. That strategy involves a lot of guns. Unfortunately, their armory is empty, and manufacturing attempts have been a total disaster so far. They tried using alchemy to clone weapons. At first glance, it looked solid. But in practice, the quality was worse than a cheap knockoff toy. The replicas shatter after one shot because alchemy has hard limits. The precision needed for firearms is way beyond what magic Play-Doh can achieve. These fakes are too fragile to handle the explosive power of real gunpowder. Sephro asks why they bother with guns when she could just drop a meteor and delete the alliance instantly. Ike immediately vetoes that idea. He wants to defend the city, not turn it into a parking lot. To fight cleanly, they need user-friendly weapons. The only way to get them is by manufacturing parts and assembling them by hand. It is possible, but nobody on his team has the skills for it. They could ask the dwarves, but that race already lost their war. They scattered into the forests to hide. Getting their help is going to be a logistical nightmare, especially since they need a whole crew. Rounding them up is tough, but Ike has a plan: break the dwarf king out of human prison. Years ago, humans burned the dwarf village to the ground, trying to force them into manufacturing weapons for the war effort. The village was ablaze, but the dwarf king refused to obey. The human general got annoyed and escalated the situation. He burned everything down. The king still held his ground, refusing to let his technology be used for death and destruction. Since burning his house didn't work, the general tried a more direct approach to persuasion. He threw a sword dangerously close to the king's crotch. But before doing any surgery, he threatened to kill the king's son if he didn't cooperate. The king was tough, but his son was his weakness. He folded and agreed to work for the humans. After that, they threw him in a cell. He has been rotting there with no idea what happened to his son or his people. Suddenly, he hears a noise outside. He checks it out and finds all the guards knocked out cold. Lilith pops up, thrilled that she finally guessed the right cell door. She unlocks it and tells the king to come with her. He is confused why a demon is helping, but Lilith hates questions, so she knocks him unconscious to save time on explanations. Giant screams at her, it is a rescue, not a kidnapping. She ignores him, making Giant carry the heavy dwarf while she walks ahead empty-handed. Giant scans for guards, trying to be stealthy like a professional. Lilith complains she is bored and wants some violence. Giant reminds her the mission objective is stealth, not a bloodbath. He is struggling with the weight. Lilith responds to his logic by calling him ugly. Their loud bickering obviously attracts a patrol of guards. Lilith happily knocks them out because she was bored. Giant scolds her for disobeying orders, but then he has to punch a guard too. Lilith mocks him for being a hypocrite and fighting. They exit the dungeon, only to find an entire army waiting. Giant tells Lilith to handle it. She flies up and uses gravity magic to knock everyone out non-lethally. Ike was watching from the shadows the whole time to grade their performance. He is disappointed. They drew way too much attention. Giant wonders why so many soldiers are here when the Alliance supposedly took them. Lilith is tired, so they can't knock out anyone else. As they run, Ike raises rock pillars to block the path and finally reveals himself. He says good job, even though they almost botched the stealth part. Giant reports the package is secured. Ike reminds him the package is a king, so maybe stop dragging him like a sack of potatoes. Later, the dwarf king wakes up in Ike's castle, very confused. He asks why demons rescued him. Ike ignores the question. He shows Gunter the gun prototype and asks if he can build a working version. Gunter inspects the complex device. He admits he could replicate it in hours if he actually wanted to. But he refuses. He won't build weapons of war. He thinks the demons are just using him like the humans did. He would rather die than fuel more death and destruction. Ike respects the sentiment, but assures him the goal isn't evil. He wants peace. The weapons are a deterrent to achieve coexistence. He asks Gunter to follow him outside for proof. They step onto the balcony. Gunter is shocked by the bustling streets below. Humans and demons are living together, trading and talking without any fighting. Ike reiterates that his only ambition is lasting peace. But to keep this dream alive, he needs the Dwarf King's engineering skills. Gunter finds it interesting but declines. Humans destroyed his nation. He has no desire to save humanity from itself. Ike offers a trade, help us and we rebuild your kingdom. Gunter is offended. He asks if Ike thinks rebuilding a nation is a joke. He lost his family and his home. He asks how a demon could possibly fix that level of loss. Ike understands the skepticism. He takes Gunter to the workshop to show him the truth. Gunter freezes in disbelief. The room is full of the dwarves he thought were gone. His son runs up to hug him. They are all safe. They explain the demons didn't kidnap them, they saved them. They have food, shelter, and jobs. Ike even promised to rescue the king, which he actually delivered on. Seeing his people thriving, Gunter caves. He trusts Ike now and pledges his full support to the cause. Deal sealed, Ike returns to his office. Sadi is cleaning. He takes off his mask and she offers to make tea. Ike tells her to chill, she works too hard. Sadi politely refuses, saying she likes staying busy. Ike suggests she read a book instead. She admits she never learned to read, so books are just heavy paperweights to her. Ike offers to teach her personally when he has time. Sadi is thrilled. but Lilith bursts in to report she found the rest of the dwarves. Ike slams his mask back on and praises her work. Lilith isn't happy. She sensed the romantic tension and is jealous. The girls start arguing over Ike again. Suddenly, Jayan runs in with even worse news, because peace and quiet is forbidden here. Meanwhile, General Dismuth learns the Dwarf King was broken out of prison. He isn't worried. He thinks one old dwarf won't change the war's outcome. His scouts report Avilius only has 500 soldiers defending it. This makes the general confident. He has the numbers, so he thinks this will be an easy win. The commander orders his 12,000 troops to start the death march. It's basically a budget cosplay of the movie 300. Later, the Dwarf King chills on a cliff while Jayan fights for his life climbing up. Ike could levitate him, but he decides Jayan needs to work on his cardio today. Jayan finally flops over the edge, gasping, and asks how much farther they have to go. Luckily, the torture is over. They made it. The dwarf points out that the destination is literally right there. It is staring them in the face. He shows them a cave packed with natural nitrate, the holy grail for making gunpowder. Back in town, the dwarves are cranking out weapons for Ike's army and running quality control tests. Jian grabs some goblins and tells them to blast those targets. They turn the wood into Swiss cheese, and Jayan looks pretty happy with the destruction. He orders the squad to keep drilling until they stop missing. While the grunts assemble, the brass holds a war council with Ike and Sephro. One leader asks how Ike fixed the walls so fast. That job usually takes forever. Ike explains he used a mixed crew of humans and demons to speedrun the construction. He also paid them actual money. Turns out, cash motivates people better than slavery. Suddenly, the gargoyle leader squeezes through the window, whining about the tiny door. It was built for humans, not 3-meter-tall monsters, so he has to deal with it. He hasn't seen Ike in a while and greets the new vice commander respectfully, though Ike hates the formality. With the gang all here, Sephiroth kicks off the meeting by handing Ike total control over the war effort. She tells the squad they have to follow his orders because he is the boss now. Nobody argues. After watching Ike dismantle Bastion, they are terrified of him. They pledge loyalty but point out they need a plan. Ike has 2,000 troops against 12,000. Captain Lobo flexes, claiming his wolves can easily handle a 6-to-1 handicap. Ike reminds him that while wolves are tough, the rest of the army isn't exactly built different. The ogres suggest a sneak attack at night to catch them sleeping. Ike shuts that down immediately. The enemy has mages on patrol. One simple detection spell and the sneak attack becomes a suicide mission. Instead, he wants to dictate the flow. He plans to let the humans attack them right here. The enemy is arrogant because of their numbers. Ike wants to break their spirit and watch them crumble. That is the only way to speedrun this battle and keep everyone alive. After the meeting, Sadi and Jan are stuck cleaning up the debris from the roof hole. Meanwhile, Ike is stressing over the map. Sadi chats him up, mentioning how lively the city feels lately. He is shocked she is this chill considering a massive war starts in a few hours. Sadi isn't scared. She trusts the squad to defend Avilius with their lives. Since she can't fight, she wants to support the team by cooking meals. But she is worried about the logistics. Feeding an entire army requires serious volume. The only thing she knows how to cook in bulk is soup. She asks Ike for better menu ideas. Ike stands up to grab a book, but Sadi says he doesn't need to do research just to answer. Ike insists it matters. Food equals morale. If the soldiers eat trash, they fight like trash, so he needs to optimize the menu. He is relieved supplies are good because starvation is a bad strategy. He checks a cookbook and asks if they have rice. She says yes. He suggests making massive batches of fried rice. Sadi memorizes the recipe and heads to the kitchen to start wokking. Despite being a rookie, her skills are elite. Even Uncle Roger would give this a fuyo. She serves a bowl to Ike. It tastes like victory. It is fast to make and easy to scale up for thousands. Plus, it actually tastes good. This carb load will definitely hype up the soldiers. They sit down to eat, but Jayan bursts in, offended that they are having a feast without inviting him. Ike offers him a bowl. Jayan enthusiastically agrees, so Sadi grabs another plate. But before he can dig in, they get interrupted again by Lilith. She is furious they are having a dinner party without her and demands a seat. Both demons love the food. Lilith is addicted and immediately demands seconds. Sadi piles it on. Lilith accuses the maid of trying to make her get fat. They start staring each other down. Ike just wants one meal where nobody tries to kill each other. Meal over, Ike reviews his checklist for the upcoming invasion. Walls fixed, army gathered, weapons equipped. He has done the prep work. Now it is time to execute the strategy. Outside, a lookout spots the Alliance army rolling up. He sounds the alarm. It is game time. Giant sprints in to tell Ike it is time to launch the opening move. Ike steps out to face the Alliance with his squad. He warns them that if the Alliance breaks through here, Sonnen falls next, and the demon army is toast. They have to hold the line at Avilius. The troops cheer in agreement. Meanwhile, the human commander looks disappointed. He expected a massive horde. He hired elite mercs for this, and the enemy turnout is pathetic. He feels like he overprepared. He worries this won't even be a challenge. He doesn't call this a war, it is pest control. He orders his men to wipe out the monsters. The humans open up with heavy artillery. Ike instantly deploys a barrier to shield the castle from the bombardment. The commander isn't impressed. He orders another volley to crack the shell. They pound the barrier hoping it breaks, but Ike holds it steady, making his soldiers cheer. Ike knew they would start with siege weapons, but he is trying to predict the follow-up play. The commander sees the shield holding, but he has a trick up his sleeve. He orders one more volley. Lilith mocks the humans for wasting ammo on an unbreakable shield, but the humans played smart. Their mages cast a disruption spell that destabilizes Ike's magic. The barrier shatters, and the rocks smash into the walls. With the defenses open, the commander sends in the first wave of infantry. As they charge the wall, they slam on the brakes. A massive titan pops up and starts hurling boulders. The soldiers watch their buddies get flattened like pancakes. Without Commander Irwin to give a suicide speech, morale breaks and they think about running. But Ike's archers start raining fire. The humans raise shields, realizing they can shoot back at the giant target. Before the titan can reload, they pepper its chest with arrows and bring it down. They shift aim to the defenders on the wall, forcing the demons to duck for cover. Ike tries another barrier, but the enemy is too close. They start hooking ladders onto the battlements. They swarm up. Ike's troops aren't rolling out the red carpet, so they drop rocks and arrows to knock them off. But the humans have the numbers. If they keep swarming, someone is going to breach the top. But it won't be today. The human deputy notes that the demons are tougher than advertised, but he figures brute force will win eventually. They just need to grind them down. While his men die, the commander is just thinking about what's for dinner. He wants to wrap this up and chill, so he orders the catapults to fire again. Even though his own troops are in the blast zone, he doesn't care. The deputy tries to warn him about friendly fire, but the commander ignores the safety regulations and fires anyway. The catapults launch. Ike sees the rocks coming in hot. He tries to shield, but it breaks again. He yells for everyone to brace for impact. Everyone dives for cover as the boulders slam home. The impact wrecks the wall and crushes everyone nearby. Both demons and humans get wiped out in the crossfire. Giant barely survives. Lilith is absolutely livid that the humans are nuking their own guys. That commander is sacrificing his own pawns just to crack the defense. Ike is disgusted by the total lack of respect for life. The commander smirks like a sociopath, clearly enjoying the chaos with zero self-awareness. He orders the second squad to charge through the gaping hole in the wall. Ike's soldiers rush to intercept, but the momentum is heavily against them. The human army pushes forward relentlessly, getting dangerously close to breaching the city. Meanwhile, the human commander sips tea, annoyed that he hasn't won yet. To speedrun the victory, he throws the third unit into the meat grinder. The battle is escalating faster than Ike predicted, but he trusts his strategy can withstand the Zerg rush. At the breach, Lilith is fighting like a demon possessed to hold the line. She's repelling them for now, but the endless waves of humans are wearing her down. Giant and the gunners are itching to fire, but the humans are mixed in with their allies. Shooting now means friendly fire. They are stuck, but then the werewolf general steps up to handle business. He leads his pack into the fray, shredding humans left and right. With the wolves in play, the defense stabilizes, but the humans refuse to quit. Instead, they start shouting strategies, coordinating three-man teams to gang up on individual demons. But before they can unleash the power of friendship, the demons unleash the power of gunpowder. The firing lines have a clear shot now. Humans raise shields, but the bullets punch right through them like paper. That was just the opening volley. Giant orders the second wave to open fire. Seeing their buddies get deleted by invisible projectiles, the humans panic and run for their lives. The retreat turns into a rout. The wolf general grabs a straggler and prepares to rearrange his face. But a horn blasts, signaling a total ceasefire. The wolf is disappointed, but orders are orders. He releases the human, letting him flee back to safety. Fiorentina watches the retreat from the walls. She recalls Ike's strategy meeting. He promised a quick end to the war with minimal casualties. The generals were skeptical. It sounds nice, but executing a pacifist war is nearly impossible. Ike's plan: fight at 100% intensity, but on a timer. He asked the wolf general for his max stamina. The wolf said an hour. Ike cut that to 10 minutes. Go all out, wreck everything, then retreat immediately. 10 minutes of pure violence. No matter what happens, they pull back when the clock hits 0. Phase 1 complete. The ogres charge out the gates. Their brutality terrifies the remaining humans, sparking a chaotic retreat. Back in the meeting, the wolf general felt insulted by the retreat order. He accused Ike of doubting his strength. But it wasn't about trust. Another soldier explained the logic. Fighting in shifts keeps them fresh while exhausting the enemy. By cycling units, they maintain peak performance and confuse the humans. It is brilliant, but shift work alone won't beat 12,000 soldiers. That leads to Phase 2. Ike plans to funnel the humans into a kill zone using giant snipers and Fiorentina's alchemy. He asked Fiorentina if she was ready. She pledged to die for the mission. Ike immediately shut that down. No dying allowed. He forbids sacrifice plays. The goal is 0 casualties on their side, so nobody gets to be a hero today. Back on the field, the humans load the catapults. Before they can fire, rocks drop from the sky and crush their siege engines. The demon Air Force has arrived. They mock the fragile human tech while destroying it. This was Ike's counterplay. Air superiority changes everything. Their job is to blind the enemy by destroying their long-range support. Ike knows the enemy commander is a noble-born coward who values his own skin above all else. He explains that if they disrupt the battle flow, this coward will panic and try to flee. Then they just have to catch him. The wolf general asks why they don't just kill him. Ike insists he has a plan for the captive. He tells everyone to stick to the script. No rogue actions, just crush the enemy in front of you. It sounds simple, but they trust him. In the present, the air unit is cleaning house. Giant and Fiorentina are relieved the plan is working. Fiorentina worries about Sephro, who is handling a solo mission. Back in the meeting, she asked what Sephiroth's role was. Ike assigned her the most crucial task, but Sephro hates it because it is boring. She is stuck chasing stragglers instead of fighting on the front lines. She cursed Ike for sidelining her, but then she spots a handsome human soldier, so maybe the day isn't a total loss. Back at the wall, the ogres and snipers are decimating the human assault. The humans are realizing their numerical advantage means nothing if they can't land a hit. A soldier reports the breach failed. The squads that entered the city were instantly wiped out. The general is furious. His vice commander suggests a strategic retreat. The general refuses, demanding a full-scale charge. He claims if 5-to-1 odds don't work, they will try 10-to-1. Or 20-to-1, he doesn't care about the body count. The vice commander calls this suicide, but the general ignores him. Surprisingly, he announces he will lead the charge personally to boost morale. Fiorentina is shocked they are still attacking. Giant smiles, it is time for the finale. As the humans charge, the ground splits open. Hundreds fall into a massive pit. They assume it is magic and call for their mages to counter it. But oops, the mage unit is already captured. Giant and Fiorentina are impressed Ike pulled this off. In the chaos, the cowardly general gets separated and tossed to the ground. Ike finds him and confirms his identity. He scolds the general for making his men work overtime to find him. He warns that killing the general would cause a retreat anyway. But he offers a deal: order the retreat yourself and you live. The general stands up laughing. He thinks Ike is bluffing. He assumes he is too valuable to kill. Wrong answer. Ike's bodyguard Rhea teleports behind him and slashes his chest. Rhea wants to finish the job, but Ike restrains him with chains. The general realizes he is 1 second away from death. Terrified, he screams for a full retreat. The soldiers are confused, but relieved they don't have to die today. As they flee, Rhea asks Ike if letting the general live is a mistake. He knows they will be back. He wonders if mercy will bite them later. Ike is willing to take that risk. The general realizes that Ike was not bluffing when he said the general would be killed if he didn't retreat, so he immediately orders all his men to fall back. All the human soldiers are confused as to why the general did this suddenly, but they do not complain since it means they no longer have to sacrifice their lives. While Ike and Rhea watch them leave, Rhea doesn't mention that they will almost certainly return to attack again someday. Although he is grateful to Ike, he asks whether Ike will later regret letting the general live. While they prep for the next pirate raid, Yuria approaches Ike, saying she needs to discuss something urgent. It is about the marriage. Ike assumes she wants to call it off. But actually, Yuria is totally hyped. She has been crushing on him since the rescue mission and genuinely wants to lock that down. Ike is bewildered. She is catching heavy feelings for a guy she met less than 12 hours ago. But Yuria is serious. Ike tries to let her down gently, suggesting that maybe marriage is a bit sudden for a first date. Sadi is eavesdropping from the door. She is impressed by Yuria's boldness but also jealous. Since she isn't the one getting proposed to, she decides to go retail therapy. She heads out to do something productive like shopping. While shopping, a pirate spy spots her. He mistakes her for Yuria because they are practically twins. He sneaks up in an alley and knocks her lights out. Sadi wakes up on a pirate ship. She hears the kidnapper bragging about ransoming her to the captain for a promotion. She decides not to wait for the meet and greet and makes a run for it, trying to get back to Ike. She reaches the deck, only to realize she is surrounded by endless ocean. She is in deep trouble. The captain investigates the noise. His men claim they captured the Zenobia leader's daughter. He takes one look at Sadi and realizes they grabbed the wrong girl. But hey, a hostage is a hostage, so he decides to keep her. Back on land, Yuria hears the news. She knows it was the pirates, but they have already set sail, making them nearly impossible to track. Ike steps up. He will handle the rescue personally, but he needs to borrow a fast ship. Utria agrees. Ike immediately sets sail to save Sadi before the pirates do something stupid. On the ship, Carosa forces Sadi into a maid outfit he picked out himself. Sadi is humiliated by the revealing costume and asks why she has to cosplay for him. Carosa says she is his maid now, and her only job is to keep him entertained. And apparently, seeing her in that outfit makes his day. Sadi thinks back to Ike. When she became his maid, he just wanted his house cleaned. She didn't have a choice then either, but at least Ike actually cared about her safety. Even trapped with Carosa, she prefers maid work over whatever creepy plans he has in mind. She offers to cook him a meal to buy time. Carosa likes food, so he lets her loose in the galley. In the kitchen, Sadi hatches a plan. She asks the guards for a bottle of high-proof alcohol, claiming it is for the sauce. They hand it over, thinking it will make the boss's steak taste better. Big mistake. Armed with booze, Sadi douses the steak and lights it up. As expected, it creates a massive grease fire. The guards rush to put it out. In the chaos, Sadi throws alcohol on one guard and sets him on fire too. While the other guard deals with his burning buddy, Sadi sprints for the door. By the time they extinguish the flames, she has vanished. Sadi is loose, but she has nowhere to go. Hearing pirates approaching, she dives into the cargo hold. She hides until they pass. Once clear, she peeks inside one of the crates. It is full of stolen treasure from the city. She wants to tell Ike, but she lacks a cell phone in the middle of the ocean. Losing hope, she notices a candle nearby. Later, Carosa is waiting for his dinner and his hostage. Instead, a crewmate bursts in screaming. The ship is on fire. The crew scrambles to save the ship from sinking. Sadi lit the fire, hoping the smoke would signal Ike. Now she just has to stay hidden while the pirates panic. They know Sadi started the fire, but they can't find her because she is hiding inside a barrel like a cartoon character. She hears pirates say they are searching elsewhere. She opens the lid to peek, only to realize they were baiting her. They are pirates checking the barrels is lesson 1. They drag her out. They throw her down, planning to make her pay for the arson. Sadi grabs a lid and frisbees it into a pirate's face, buying a split second to run. She prays Ike is coming, but as she runs, she steps into a magical trap. She falls. Carosa steps out of the shadows. He doesn't want to kill his new toy, but she did torch his boat. He decides to cut off one leg as a teaching moment. He orders a goon to do it. The man raises an axe over Sadi. She is helpless. Just as the axe falls, a blast of wind launches the pirate into the sky. He is definitely dead. Carosa realizes they have a border and demands an ID. Ike steps onto the deck. He promised to protect Sadi, and he is here to collect on that promise. Sadi rushes to him. Carosa orders an attack. Ike summons lightning, turning the attackers into charred skeletons instantly. The survivors try again, but Ike shields himself and uses a wind blast to blow the entire crew into the ocean. Apparently, none of them took swimming lessons. With the minions gone, Ike checks on Sadi. She is relieved but feels guilty for being a burden. She thinks she is just a disposable servant, but Ike doesn't see it that way. To him, Sadi is precious. He would never abandon her. He admits he was lost at sea until he saw her signal fire. Carosa interrupts, noting Ike is clearly overqualified to be a maid. Suddenly, he triggers a massive explosion. Ike shields them from the blast. Carosa respects the skill but claims Sadi was fair loot. So he intends to keep her. Carosa casts a high-level water spell. Ike grabs Sadi to dodge, but the spell tracks them, forcing a block. The impact blows a hole in the deck. Ike jumps into the ship to break line of sight. Carosa mocks him. There is nowhere to hide on a sinking ship in the ocean. He fires a lightning bolt into the hole for a direct hit. However, when he checks for the body, Ike rises from the water, using his own water magic to absorb the damage. Ike informs Carosa his subscription to life has expired. He detonates the pirate with a spell, blowing him and the ship to pieces. The explosion is visible from miles away. Carosa is knocked out cold. His crew watches in horror as their invincible leader gets dismantled. After rounding up the survivors, Ike credits Sadi for the win. Without her fire, he never would have found the ship. She saved herself. Back in the city, Utria is shocked Ike actually captured the Pirate King alive. She assumed he would kill him. It is weird to see a demon army commander who hates killing. But a deal is a deal. She grants the trade treaty, but insists on keeping it secret to avoid angering the alliance. She prefers to play both sides for now. Ike agrees. As long as the supplies flow, he doesn't care about the politics. They sit down to hammer out the details. Meanwhile, the demon invasion force is getting wrecked. Sephro is injured. While healing, she checks the logistics. It is bad. They have 3 days of food left. The city has no supplies, meaning they marched into a starvation trap. She realizes the enemy baited them in to starve them out. With time running out, Sephro decides to launch a desperate all-out attack. Her subordinates advise against it due to her injury, but sitting around waiting to die isn't an option. Later that night, Ike hosts a victory party for himself and Sadi. Sadi runs over to compliment his outfit. He tells her she looks great, surprised she isn't resting after her kidnapping ordeal. Sadi refuses to miss the party. Suddenly, Yuria spots Ike and tackles him with a hug. She asks why he ghosted her earlier. Sadi steps in, reminding her that public displays of affection are inappropriate, even for a fiancé. Sadi realizes she might have been a bit too aggressive and backs off. She adjusts Ike's coat instead. Watching them, Yuria realizes Ike might see Sadi as more than just the help. The party kicks off. Guests immediately recognize Ike as the mysterious hero who wrecked the Pirate King and stole the leader's daughter's heart. He is basically a celebrity now, but he keeps his mouth shut about the details. Ike, Yuria, and Sadi head upstairs to meet Utria. She compliments her daughter's looks and tells Ike to take good care of her. Ike is confused. Utria clarifies that the trade treaty is a package deal. It only works if he marries Yuria. Suddenly, an announcement declares this is an official engagement party. Ike realizes he has been trapped. Things are moving way too fast, but Utria threatens to tear up the treaty if he bails, so he is stuck. Before he can say "I do," a blinding light floods the room. The demon lord appears in the light, visible only to Ike. She drops a bomb. Sephro is in deep trouble. She explains Sephro took Alista, but it was bait. A classic trap. The enemy lured her in and surrounded the city. She is completely cut off. Ike asks for numbers. Darokuten says 5,000. Time is short, so he needs to move now. She prepped his brigade for deployment. And yes, she could save Sephro herself with a snap of her fingers. But she wants Ike to do it, mostly to ruin his party because she finds it funny. Meanwhile, General Rudio hears the city is on the brink of collapse. He decides to lead the next wave personally to finish the job. Inside the walls, Sephro is fighting for her life, ordering the remaining ogres to hold the line. But human archers are picking them off before they can even swing their clubs. Sephro deflects the arrows and charges, taking down soldiers solo. She is winning the melee, but then a lightning bolt blasts her from nowhere. A human mage steps up, impressed by her durability, but promises her winning streak ends now. Back in Avilius, Ike and Sadi teleport home. Sadi loves the instant travel but loves the postponed engagement even more. Ike plans to return to Zenobia later, since teleporting makes the commute easy. Giant bursts into the office looking panicked. Something is very wrong. Ike asks for the sitrep. Giant reports the King's Alliance launched a massive assault on Avilius while Ike was gone. The city is wrecked. Casualties are high. Ike is shocked. They attacked on two fronts simultaneously. Avilius would have fallen if not for a savior. Giant claims a single young woman wiped out the entire enemy force. She soloed the army. Ike realizes Darrow-Cutan wasn't kidding about handling things. Ike decides to head to Alista immediately to save Sephiroth. He asks for a headcount. Giant says they have about 500 combat-ready troops after the recent attack, but they need to leave a garrison behind to defend Avilius. So 500 is optimistic. He asks about the enemy numbers. Ike says 5,000. Winning with 10-to-1 odds is a nightmare scenario. Without other brigade leaders, they are on their own. It's a suicide mission. Suddenly, the Dwarf King enters, offering to help repay his debt. Ike refuses, saying the weapons were payment enough. But the king insists. He feels indebted to Ike's kindness. He has hundreds of dwarf warriors ready to throw down. Ike asks if he is sure since this isn't his fight. The king disagrees. The outcome matters to him. If Ike unifies the world, dwarves get a homeland. It is an investment in their future. Ike admits the demon army is struggling, so that promise is on shaky ground. The king doesn't care. If they lose, they lose. But Ike gave hope to his wandering people, so the king is riding with him until the wheels fall off. Ike accepts the help. Then the human citizens of Avilius step up, volunteering to fight too. Ike asks if they realize that means fighting alongside demons against other humans. The people don't care. They want to protect their homes and their new life. The old human ruler taxed them into poverty. Under Ike, life is actually good. Their hatred for demons vanished when the demons sacrificed themselves to save humans during the last battle. They owe Ike their lives, so they are ready to pay up. Giant objects to human help, but Lilith smacks him for questioning Ike. Sadi joins in to roast him too. Giant ends up on the floor, rethinking his life choices. Ike addresses the volunteers. He splits the force in two. One group goes to Alista, the other stays to defend Avilius. He gives the defenders a strict order. If the Alliance attacks again while he is gone, surrender immediately. They can't win without him. Resistance means death. He forbids them from antagonizing the enemy. Survival comes first. The next morning, Ike's army marches out. It is a 4-day trip to Alista. His army is bigger now, but still outnumbered. He needs a miracle strategy. He hopes Sephiroth can hold on. Meanwhile, in Alista, Sephiroth is struggling. The numbers are overwhelming. She needs to separate the enemy forces to save her troops inside the walls. If she fails, they are done for. She wants to attack, but can't risk friendly fire on her own ogres. She decides to target the troops outside, but as she moves, the enemy mage blasts her out of the sky. He orders his men to capture her, but she isn't done yet. She casts a spell, grabbing soldiers with vines to use as shields while she escapes. She retreats to a rooftop, but her mana is draining fast. She tries to cast one last spell to clear the enemies, but General Rudio strikes her in the chest mid-cast. She falls and gets captured. The next morning, Sephiroth's troops are decimated. Soldiers are looting the bodies. A surviving demon tries to fight back, but gets incinerated by a mage who enjoys his job way too much. Sephiroth is in the dungeon. Rudio visits her. The guard suggests killing her now. Rudio declines. He remembers her from the first battle. Sephiroth remembers him too. She regrets not killing him when she had the chance. Rudio mentions her famous subordinate. He knows Ike will come for her. Sephiroth realizes she is bait to lure Ike into a trap. Rudio admits his orders are to wipe out the entire 7th Brigade. He will keep her alive until he kills the rest, just to be polite. Meanwhile, Ike marches toward the trap. He is desperately brainstorming a strategy that doesn't end in a massacre. Days later, during a break, the Dwarf King approaches him. He reports that demons and humans are working well together, and the prototype weapons are ready for action. Ike thanks him. It is time to go to work. But the king brushes off the praise. He has a question. He isn't exactly dying to fight or anything, but since they are almost at Alista, he asks when Ike plans to start the show. Ike says the situation is still delicate. He sent Jayan to scout the area first to avoid walking into a meat grinder. Jayan returns with horrible news. He takes Ike to a vantage point overlooking the city walls. Hanging from a post are Sephiroth's clothes. It means she was defeated, but Ike is confident she is still alive. Feeding 5,000 troops is expensive. The Alliance wants to end this war fast. The quickest way is to use a high-value hostage like Sephiroth to bait the rest of the brigade into a trap. But knowing she is alive doesn't mean she is okay. She could be getting tortured right now. So even though it is obviously a trap, they have to spring it to save her. They need a solid strategy before charging in. First, Ike asks the 3 commanders for help. Once prepped, they launch the assault at dawn. The next morning, a human guard is just minding his own business when suddenly, a massive green energy blast slams into the tower out of nowhere. The soldiers realize they are under attack and scramble to defend, but the firepower hitting them is way above their pay grade. General Rudio gets a report. A section of the wall is gone, but since it is only 500 enemy soldiers, he isn't worried. He warns his vice commander not to get cocky. The humans return fire with catapults, dealing heavy damage. Ike shields his troops, telling them to just hold the line until Sephiroth and the wounded can escape. After a few minutes, Rudio intensifies the assault. He senses something is off. If he attacked with his main force, he would crush Ike easily, but he can't figure out Ike's angle. Usually, Ike would be trying to breach the city to grab Sephiroth, but his squad is stagnant. They lack the manpower for a rescue op. Ike is smart, so he must know this too. That means he has a different plan. Rudio checks on the dungeon security. The vice commander says it is tight, but Rudio sends Vattel there as backup just in case. Meanwhile, in the dungeon, a guard leaves his post, but his shadow detaches and slips under the cell door. Inside, a new guard taunts Sephiroth, claiming her friends are here just to die. He then shares his plans to torture her for fun. Before he can start, Lilith appears from the shadows and drains the life out of him. With the guard down, Lilith apologizes to Sephiroth for the delay. Outside, Ike notices Rudio stopped attacking. He figured it out. Heya asks if they should go all out now, but Ike says wait. They need to stall. Ike blasts the wall with wind magic to provoke a reaction. Rudio knows what Ike is doing. He checks his troop status. Everything is ready, infantry, cavalry, archers. Confident Ike won't advance, he resumes the attack. He plans to grind Ike's squad down slowly. But inside, the dungeon guards are getting nervous about the prisoners. They decide to just kill everyone to prevent an escape. Smart move, but before they can execute it, a sleep spell drops them all instantly. Lilith walks in carrying Sephiroth. Fiorentina is thrilled to see her boss alive. She apologizes for failing to protect her. Sephiroth tells her to shut up. She is just glad everyone is okay. Lilith cuts the reunion short. Fiorentina stands up to fight. Suddenly, an arrow hits Fiorentina in the back, dropping her. It was Vattel's squad, arriving to secure the prisoners. He plans to wipe out every demon in the room. He expects fear, but Lilith starts laughing maniacally. Everything is going exactly according to Ike's plan. Vattel is confused until he looks left and sees Jayan standing right there. He asks how Jayan got in. Jayan says he used the front door with a little magic help. Lilith sends the signal to Ike. Ike instantly teleports the gun squad directly into the castle alongside Jayan. Vattel recognizes the guns and knows they are screwed. The soldiers get mowed down by the dozens. When the ammo runs dry, Vattel tries to counterattack, but the remaining orcs rush him and tear his squad apart. He is totally wiped out. Lilith tells the orcs to chill, they have work to do before escaping. Meanwhile, Sephiroth tends to the dying Fiorentina, who is still apologizing for failure. Sephiroth is furious. Vattel tries to rally his men, but Sephiroth explodes his wand and stomps on his throat with maximum rage. His head is definitely not round anymore. Seeing their leader get curb-stomped, the soldiers wisely decide to run away. Sephiroth isn't done. She prepares to chase them down and kill everyone. Lilith blocks her path, begging her to stop because of the mission. Sephiroth doesn't care until Lilith mentions it is a request from Ike. That calms her down enough to listen. Jayan grabs Fiorentina, noting she is still breathing, and rushes her to get medical help. He tells the others to finish the mission without him. Later, Rudio learns demons breached the wall, freed the prisoners, and teleported intruders inside. He realizes it is Ike's magic at work. Suddenly, a crash echoes from inside the walls. Giant's gun squad is punching holes through human lines. The Dwarf King blows up the heavy artillery. Demons wreak havoc everywhere, causing Rudio's entire defense to collapse. Having wreaked enough havoc, Giant fires a signal flare for Ike. Ike sees it and tells the king it is his turn. The king has gargoyles carry barrels of gunpowder to carpet bomb the human forces. Giant and Lilith know what is coming. They tell their allies to flee before the rain starts. Rudio sees gargoyles with suspicious barrels and knows it is bad news. He orders a retreat. Too late. The barrels drop, exploding in massive fireballs that obliterate Rudio's defenses. Rudio's troops are in chaos. Ike sees the opening and orders a full-scale offensive. Rudio is busy damage controlling when he hears Ike is charging. He has no time to reorganize. Knowing he can't win a head-on fight right now, Rudio orders a full retreat. He lost today, but he swears to return and defeat Ike next time. With the battle over, the demon army occupies the city and starts rebuilding. Other commanders arrive and are shocked to see humans working with demons in the castle. Sephro explains they are citizens of Avilius who came to help. She owes them her life, so she demands they be treated with respect as comrades. Fiorentina recovers fully, so it's a happy ending. But the squad leaders feel guilty for not being there when their commander was captured. Sephro absolves them, reminding them she was the one who sent them away. Suddenly, Giant runs in with a letter from a messenger of the King's alliance. The messenger is outside. The leaders want to kill him instantly, but someone suggests reading the letter first. Ike opens it. It basically says the enemy respects him as a worthy rival. In it, Rudio says GG and hopes for a rematch in the future. Ike thinks sending a congratulatory letter mid-war is a bit dramatic, but he respects the hustle. Rudio captured Sephro easily and could have executed her anytime. Sephro considers it her biggest L. Ike tries to comfort her, saying luck plays a huge role in war. But Rudio's strategy wasn't luck, it was pure skill. From capturing Sephro to retreating at the perfect moment, he played 4D chess. Every move was calculated. His decision-making was flawless. Without Gunther's new weapons, Ike isn't sure he would have won that fight. Ike decides to reply. He writes back praising Rudio's leadership and tactics. He hopes they meet again as friends, not enemies. He hands the letter to the messenger. Sephro officially congratulates him on the victory, but admits she knew he had no obligation to walk into a trap for her. Ike says the demon lord ordered it so he couldn't refuse. Plus, they go way back so he wasn't going to leave her hanging. Suddenly, they hear a commotion outside. They check it out and see the demon lord standing there. Even worse, Giant is talking down to her like she is a lost child, telling her to leave the battlefield because it is dangerous. Ike panics, shoving Giant aside. He apologizes profusely for his subordinate's rudeness, informing Giant that this little girl is his boss's boss. Giant is stunned. The rumors described a terrifying monster, not a cute kid. Ike apologizes again, but Dairo-Kutan laughs it off. Many demons don't know her true form. Giant realizes she is the girl who saved Avilius single-handedly. It all makes sense now. Her power level is off the charts. The demon lord addresses the brigade. She praises Sephro for her performance. Sephro feels unworthy since her mistake led to her capture, but holding out for days without supplies is impressive regardless of the circumstances. Dairo-Kutan gives her credit for resilience. She praises the entire team for their efforts, but highlights Ike's contribution above all. Ike thanks her, but he senses a but coming. Dairo-Kutan declares he is too talented to lead just one brigade, so she promotes him to commander of the 8th Corps. And this time, refusal is not an option. And that wraps up our summary. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and comment Mau Sama below to boost the algorithm. God bless. See you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.